Well, hello everybody. It's John again here with Terry Johnson from Firearms Legal Protection. Today on John's Briefs, I want to talk to you about a video out of Madison, Wisconsin. It's been on the main channel recently. And today's part of that, Terry, I want to talk about the fact that he shot the guy in the back, and is that cool? So let's talk about it. Today's video is brought to us by Firearms Legal Protection. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners with a 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for self-defenders. They are offering a discount on their plan to ASP fans, so hit the link in the description for that. Once again, Terry, first of all, I just want to say thanks to Firearms Legal Protection for being willing to do this education. I mean, you bill out at multiple hundreds of dollars an hour to give this kind of advice, and you're giving it to us for free. I just want to say how much I appreciate you and Firearms Legal Protection's support of education.
We appreciate you and your viewers, and we want everybody to not only be educated, but protected in the event that you ever have to use a lethal weapon to protect yourself or others. So.
And you guys know the reason we went with Firearms Legal Protection. I think they offer the kind of coverage that I want, and so you guys are who I use. So let's talk about this one. You go and watch this guy who we find out later has already done time for bank robbery, so he's no Boy Scout. But of course the guard's not going to know that coming in. He just sees this guy with a hoodie come in, grab, put a note out and say, this is a stick up, right? This is a bank robbery. And the guard, who's plain clothes, draws a gun, no challenge whatsoever, gets to a spot where he's got a better backstop and puts a shot in the guy's back.
Right.
And I know, and then holds him there until the police arrive. So come to find out, dude isn't armed. So that's a challenge. However, I want to talk on today's video about the fact that he shot him in the back. And I know in some circles they say, wait a minute, that's not justified if you shoot someone in the back. What do you think of that?
That's a great question, and it's going to depend where you shoot them. And when I say where, I'm not talking about the place on the body. Okay. So for example, I get this question lots of times. Someone's broken into my house and I can't shoot them in the back. And realistically, in most states, there's an irrebuttable presumption that if someone breaks in your house, they're there to do you harm.
Right.
So therefore, if I shoot a guy that's broken into my bedroom and he's on his way out of the room, can I shoot him? I would say yes.
Probably.
Okay. Again, depending on the state you're in, duty to retreat laws, the whole 9 yards. But if I shoot him in the back, does that mean that I'm not in imminent fear? My response to that is this. I don't know where this guy's going. He's still in my house.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got a gang of people behind him. I don't know if he saw my handgun and he's getting ready to go get an AR or something like that.
So clearly in your home you have some real additional protection.
Exactly. Now in this particular case, I would argue that a business owner also has that as well. Okay. Again, check with your local state laws and find this out, because...
But you have more protection in your place of business than you do out in public.
Exactly. So if I'm out in public, for example, I see something like this, some guy's trying to rob someone, and when I say public, I'm not referring to a building, I'm saying on the street.
Right.
Okay? And someone gets shot in the back, that is something completely different. Here, we're in a building, a place of business, where other people are coming and going and transacting business for all practical purposes. So my bigger question is the where, and when I say where, not where on the body, where specifically, location-wise, is this going on? And that's the bigger thing I think that needs to happen. So to your point, can we shoot someone, quote unquote, in the back? In the home, in a place of business, as long as the other factors are there, the imminent fear, death, great bodily harm of yourself or others, it looks like in this case, then more likely than not, you're probably going to be okay depending on your state.
And so the where on the body is less important than the why.
Exactly.
So wait a minute. Now, I could think of it, for instance, even out in public. Somebody grabs my child and starts running off with my child. Well, guess what? They're running away, and so their back is turned to me. And I draw a firearm, and I say, you're not taking my little one, and I put a shot in their back. I don't think anybody in the world is going to have a problem with that. Well, of course I shot him in the back. He's running away with my child, kidnapping my child.
Correct.
Okay, fine. Nobody's going to have a problem with that. So that's clearly one I think you can shoot someone in the back. Now, this case in Madison, this guard sees a bank robbery, which under, as I looked up their statutes, bank robbery is statutorily defined there as a violent felony.
Right.
Bank robbery by definition. So we can set aside the other question for now.
Sure.
But he's in the commission of a violent felony, and there's danger not only to the plainclothes there, but to the other patrons in the bank.
Exactly.
And so he can act to stop that with deadly force, because you can meet a violent felony with deadly force.
Correct.
So, not really a matter of whether he shot him in the back. I don't really care about where he shot him. I care about why he shot him.
Right. And you're going to get someone, one of your viewers, and I promise one of you is thinking this right now, and they're going to, send a message to say, but the teller was behind glass.
True.
So what was the threat to the teller? Well, here's the part of that. If someone comes in there to commit a violent felony, a robbery, as statutorily defined in Wisconsin, guess what? What about the people on the other side of the glass?
The customers.
Yep. And what's going to happen to them? Someone's coming in there to commit this felony, guess what? Does that mean that I'm only going to take money from the people on the other side of the glass, or does that put everybody else in a threatening mode at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the guard really can honestly say that the tellers were at risk, because they're sitting behind this big old thick bulletproof glass. Those folks go, I'm going this way. I'm going into the back,
Exactly.
And they're fine. But the guard himself, as well as the other customers, they are at peril.
Absolutely.
In a violent felony. So my big thing, and I think we see this all the time, when you say, well, wait a minute, you can't shoot someone in the back. Yes, you can. Now, we do talk about shooting fleeing felons all the time.
Again, that's a different circumstance.
Different circumstance. So these circumstances and the facts and the way that they present into the case is really what's most important.
Well, John, and here's the thing. Let me ask this question. What if the robber, let's say he was successful, got a little bit of money, and started running out of the bank at that point?
Now, we might have a different story.
That would be a different circumstance at that point, I would argue.
Sure.
And let's say he wasn't successful and changed his mind and still started to run out. So again, is he still in the bank? Yes. Is that a place of business? Yes. But at that point, and just changing one little fact, things can turn quickly. So when you say don't shoot someone in the back, it all depends upon the facts, the circumstances, the situation, and the law of where you're at.
Right. So here's where it all boils down. Be able to reasonably articulate an imminent fear of death or grievous bodily harm, and you can use deadly force.
Correct.
No matter where you're going to shoot somebody. If you cannot articulate that and you don't have reasonable evidence of that, you can't do it. There's where the bottom line is. Terry, always love applying the principles to the facts with you, and I really appreciate the analysis, my friend.
Anytime. Thank you.